All right. That is Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. Uh I like this game. I like it a lot. It's I'm just going to say comparing it to Divinity Original Sin 2 is very easy. Because they're in the same genre of games and they kind of do a lot of similar things. And so um I kind of like those comparisons as well. They do a lot of really cool things, but I do like this game. I guess I'll just get that out of the way. I like and hate the characters. I didn't involve myself a lot in the characters' interactions and things like that. Mostly because I didn't like the characters that I had initially, and the characters that I did want to learn more about. I I there was the ranger chick who I screwed up her talent system, so I really couldn't use her efficiently. Aloth, who was pretty terrible in the beginning, and again, my party composition got to a point where I actually liked what I was doing. Pallegina just stood for things that I didn't care about, and I eventually replaced people with hired adventurers. And then I had Constantin, who's a sidekick, so I don't think he gets anything special. So, regrettable. Eder, I liked him. He didn't really want to talk that much. His, I really didn't want to hear about his Aethys talk either, to be fair. And I kicked Jody out of the party when I just couldn't put up with her anymore. She was getting obnoxious for me with her. First she's all over Eder, and then she starts going all over me, and I'm just like, look, can you check yourself? Can you just check yourself? Anyways, I like the game. So I guess I'll get down to breaking it down a little bit. From what I can gather, and this is going to be kind of disappointing to say, but the story basically just came down to we're chasing Aethys to try to stop him, or trying to learn why he's doing what he's doing. And once we learn that, we either need to decide whether we're going to let him accomplish what he's going to do or try to stop him. And that actually it becomes extremely disappointing, because while the story concept itself is fine, it wasn't expansive enough. And that might be because the scope of the story might be a little too rushed, in the sense of, this Audra statue is up and he's already out to do what he's got to do. So, how are you going to pad that out? I don't know. I mean, obviously there's a ton of ways to do that, but I don't know. How are you going to do it? Go over here. So on top of that, it was just too short. I think the story is like 6 missions. You go to Port Mage. You do whatever's there. Okay, I guess that's still one. Then you go to Nekataka. I think you do like 2 quests in Nekataka. So we got 3 quests there. We go to the volcano place. Yeah, that's 4. I'm like, where'd my other finger go? We go to the volcano place, and then we go to the last place. I might be missing like 1 quest there, but that's not very long. That's not a long main quest. And I expected a lot more for a game. A game in this genre, you would expect more, and this is gonna sound really bad, but more substance in the story. And when I say substance, I mean just more main story things. So that in of itself is disappointing. The story itself is fine, and I mean, it's just too short, way too short. Was it satisfying? I'm gonna say no, and that kind of latches on to the length of the main story, but also the implementation of it. I think would have been more interesting is to start the game prior to Aethys walking around with his Adra body. You spend some time in Caed Nua, you do some quests there, and then all of a sudden, this giant foot stomps down on your spot, and now you run into a bunch of issues. Here's the issue. This game heavily relies on side quests, and a lot of side quests are cleverly implemented, and some of them actually feel like main story quests, but they're not. So yeah. Did it feel complete? Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was fine. How was the pacing? I guess I kind of went over this. The story was just too short, and I'm not going to say it felt rushed, but there was a lot of words are not really I can't really describe this correctly. There was much to be desired. Let's go with that. There was a lot to be desired when it comes to the story. So the pacing didn't really live up to what I was expecting and what I wanted from the game. And I already said that I liked it. Gameplay mechanics that stood out. I have here that the loot seemed underwhelming for the first few hours of the game, and I'm actually going to expand that to say the loot was underwhelming for the majority of the game. I like the systems that they have, and I like that potentially loot that you get at the beginning of the game is useful or can be useful late game. The problem, though, is that I think uniques, or like the yellow items basically, are what you want, and there's no varying degrees. I personally really like the rarity system to be expanded a little bit more. For example, superb items, like I'm glad that they have a percentage increase from previous qualities, but I kind of wish they had maybe a little something else special, maybe like a random stat or something like that. Go the route of Ni no Kuni 2, for example, where they just have like this random stat on them that does something interesting. That I guess it just needed more diversity, because the main goal was basically to find uniques, and that's fine. I guess I just prefer a different loot system, or a more involved loot system than what it was. But overall, it was fine. And then I have here that the mod weir or mode was watcher only. This was the talking sword that I never used because I wasn't going to send my main character into melee range because he's a chanter and he's a summoner. So I was a little disappointed that I wasn't able to utilize that, and I wish I could have had another character utilize it because I would have used it. I wouldn't have cared about the damage. I would have put it on Edir or something like that, and I would have had a talking sword, and it would have been fantastic. And I might have been more inclined to actually do the side quest for it. On to combat. Let's see. Despite being on the highest difficulty, the game seems relatively easy, even when level up scaling activated. The developers have addressed this, and there's going to be a patch someday to make the difficulty harder, but I 100% agree with a lot of the other criticisms about it. This game wasn't very hard. There was probably 5 fights in the entire game where maybe a couple more than 5, maybe like 7 fights in the entire game where things got a little challenging. And then somewhere in that 7 there was a couple where some of them were just extremely difficult. The Lich being the hardest fight in the game when I got to him anyways. And then there was that Death Knight guy. That guy was insane too. That took me several tries. So the game could be harder. I basically played this at the hardest difficulty possible with level scaling and all that other good stuff. Although I guess enemies couldn't level higher. I don't know if that's an option, but yeah, it could be harder. But you know, I don't really play games for difficulty, so at the same time, I don't really mind it all that much. I don't know. I'm kind of contradicting myself though, so whatever. Let me see. Dungeons don't overstay their welcome. I appreciated this so much, and I think this is an understated piece of praise in games, where I play a lot of JRPGs and RPGs in general, and sometimes you're in a dungeon for just way too long. Hello, Evolution Worlds. Your dungeons are ridiculously long for no reason. And that's an annoying piece of design that I'm never a fan of. And so I was really happy that dungeons in here were a couple screens, maybe a couple floors. I think the longest dungeon was like 5 floors or something like that. And it ended with an amazing fight with these cultist guys, and I got a ship crew member for my troubles with it. It was awesome. So I highly approve. And disclaimer, I did not do everything in the game. I probably did like 15% of this game or something like that. So there could have been more expansive dungeons that dragged on, but I didn't experience any of that. Cardinal sins? I don't think I ran into any cardinal sins. None of them that come off the top of my head. So I'll skip that. Yeah, I don't. That's actually the majority of my feedback. For Miscellaneous, I like the music. The music does a good job of staying in the background, but there are some nice tracks that I enjoyed more than others. I actually like the title screen music too. I thought the voice acting was pretty good. There were some annoyances with it. For example, when talking to the gods, there was a lot of flavor text that was not included in the actual readable text. And that was kind of frustrating, because when I'm cycling through the text, I would hear the text or the voice acting continue when I move on to the next set of voice acting or whatever. So I would cut it off, and I never knew it was there, and it made me feel like I was doing it wrong when it wasn't my fault. The graphics are really cool. I like the look of these kind of isometric top-down games. I admit I do wish I could rotate the camera, because especially on this difficulty, and from what I'm hearing what they're going to be doing to the difficulty later, this game can get really cluttered and there's going to be a lot of stuff. And I had that bug where my summons, their health bars would stay on the screen, and there's just a lot of stuff that happens in a fight, especially if you're running a summoner or more. So yeah, there's that. Do I have any? Oh, actually, I guess I'd say replay value. I think this game does have replay value, actually. And to be honest, I actually have a slight interest in doing a replay to see. I mean, I probably wouldn't do it start to finish, but I do want to see what happens when you just screw over everybody with that one option to start the game. I think that seemed pretty cool. Do I have any favorite characters or locations? This is something I would have to think about, so I'm probably just gonna say no. I like the volcano place. I liked the dragons that I met. A little disappointed that I didn't choose to fight them, but I'm happy I didn't, because dragons for life. Let's go. And then on to things that I disliked. Let's see. There's this might be a little of an unfair collection of things, but some of them are actually very warranted. First one being, you cannot view the skill tree without leveling up a character. If there is a method to do that, I am not aware with it. And in my opinion, this is something that is easily overlooked, but very, very necessary when you have an RPG or any game that you have a skill tree, basically. Plotting out your skill tree is something that people do, and those plots will change. You will change your mind. You will iterate on those ideas as more characters, more items, etc. come into the fold. And so there's a constant necessity to just change things. And you're not able to do that to the fullest extent. And it kind of just feels like you're being punished. And that's obviously not the intent, but it seems like a big oversight. And I hope they implement that ability soon. Some skills don't list specifics on what they do. This is incredibly annoying, and if you've watched this entire playthrough, you know what I'm talking about. For example, summon spells. It says like, hey, we summon this. What is this? What does it do? How useful is it for me? I need this information before I invest in this skill, because if it doesn't do anything that's helpful for me, I have to go spend money to respec it. And it's like, if that information was there before, I can make an informed decision to begin with. All narration isn't voice acted. This was annoying, and I think I discussed this when I like on my first day of playing this. I thought this entire game was voice acted, and when I saw other streamers pick it up and I noticed that the narration wasn't voice acted, it was a, I'm not going to say it was a big blow, but it was a blow to kind of the fantasy or the expectations that I had for this game. And I'm quite, I'm going to say disappointed that it wasn't able to go 100%. But in the same vein, there's a lot of dialogue in this game, and I applaud the game for voice acting all of that. I'm not even sure if there's a CRPG out there in existence that has all as much dialogue recorded in the game than this one. Not that I play very many, you know, my opinion isn't the most credible thing in the world, but that just comes to mind for me. So that's an incredible feat, and I applaud this game for going as far with the dialogue as it did. I just personally wish it went further. Let me see. Text doesn't auto-scroll to the top during dialogue sections. This is one of those small nitpicks, but you can notice this at the end. When you have the text that the narrator is reading, and it starts going off the screen, you got to use the scroll wheel. You scroll to the bottom so you can see the text, you know, and read it along with the narrator, yada yada. She's done reading it, you hit continue. The little scroll button thing, it shoots to the bottom. And so now you have to scroll to the top to follow along with the narrator again. And this is another one of those little things that is an easy oversight, but it's not important, but it's one of those things that's it gets annoying, and it stacks on itself on how irritating it can be. And if the developer is watching, I just want to say you made a fantastic game. I greatly look forward to the expansions or DLCs that you have for this game. I don't 100% know if I'm going to be playing them or not. You know, I don't know my schedule of games down the road, and I don't even know when you're going to be releasing these DLCs. But I found this game to be incredibly enjoyable. If there's going to be a sequel to it, I greatly look forward to that sequel. And I just hope that if the inevitable sequel, expansions, just anything more that is done with this game or franchise, you continue with the same amount of effort and I'll just leave it at effort with voice acting than you did with this one. This game set a precedent. It got me to play Pillars of Eternity 2, whereas if it didn't have voice acting, I wouldn't have touched this, because I couldn't play the first one past a certain point because it had so much reading. And reading is tough. I stumbled several times. There's so many words in this game that I don't even know what they mean. I just kind of tried to read them to the best of my capabilities and be like, I'll just try to pretend like I know what that means and move on. So, yeah. I just want to say good job. I look forward to the rest of the content. I look forward to the sequel. And just please have voice acting in them, because if they do, I'm more than likely going to be playing it. It's that plain and simple. I'm a fan now. So that's going to be it for me for today. It is the 25th. I'm going to be moving on to other games this weekend. As far as what I'm going to be playing, I have no idea. Off the top of my head, I still need to do Sands of Destruction. There's Lunar Silver Star Harmony, Silver Star Saga, something like that. That I have. I've done sound tests for both of those, and they weren't quite up to par, so I need to tinker with those, and I don't know how I'm gonna go about that in particular, but I'll figure something out. So it might be one of those two games. I also need to play Kingdom Hearts, because supposedly Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out this year, and those are like 30-hour games, so that's gonna take a month or two for me to go through both of those. Similarly, I need to finish the Golden Sun franchise. I played Golden Sun 1, that's finished and done. I need to play Lost Age, and I need to play Dark Dawn. So, and the myriad of other games that are on my list. From, what do we got here? Oh, I close that. Let's see. Mario Tennis Aces comes out in June. I'm probably going to give that a shot. Octopath Traveler comes out in July. That's a day one purchase for me. I will be playing that. As a matter of fact, I am considering playing Octopath Traveler. Move this over here. I am considering playing Octopath Traveler midnight and just powering through it, and then going to work that Friday, and then coming back, and then, you know, maybe playing some more or something like that. I don't know how I handled it. It's something that I want to do primarily for the YouTube crowd out there. I'm looking to you guys. I want to get those videos out as soon as possible. And I got a 24-hour lock window because I'm an affiliate on Twitch. So that's something I'm looking to do. Let's see. Super Mario RPG Legend of Seven Stars. I desperately need to play that one. That's one of my favorite games of all time. Or at least preliminary list favorite games of all time. I haven't locked it in. I've crumbled the list. Legend of Dragoon is at the top. Tales of Symphonia is most likely right below it at number 2. But where does Golden Sun fall? Where does Super Mario RPG fall? I gotta go through all those. The Last Remnant, I want to play that one. That's on my list. And that's probably the immediate list that I have. All of those games. And then obviously there's a ton more. I got an Assassin's Creed semi-franchise playthrough. I want to play through the Mass Effect trilogy. Yada yada yada. Blah blah blah. I'm going on for too long. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I stream Monday through Friday, 6 o'clock p.m. PST. Mostly play RPGs, but I'm known to play whatever else. June is coming up. E3 is coming up. I'm gonna be doing some E3 casts with Dante and perhaps another guest who I guess I need to talk to when it comes closer to June to see if this person is interested or not. And it'll be fun. You know, we're gonna chat it up. So I got that. I got some other videos on the way. Got some Gaming Cardinal Sin videos, experience videos. By the time this video is out, a lot of those videos are probably going to be already released. So if you haven't watched them, go watch them. But yeah, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Catch you Monday. Peace. You know what? I lied. And I'm a liar. There's actually one thing that I wanted to do. One thing that I wanted to do.
Strange to see Ukaizo in this way.
And it actually restarted me at the exact moment where I wanted to restart. Well, not.
It may be hard to picture. Great each the
Not
soul.
really.
If we don't, I mean,
As this.
I want.
But what of you, Watcher? Why have you followed me? Have you come to bear witness to the breaking of the wheel?
I've come to fight you.
You weren't expecting me to back you up in this, were you?
Watcher, there is no fight to be had. If you seek rest, I can take your soul from you, though it would be a strange and tragic end to your journey.
No, we fight.
Your stand against Aethys lasts no longer than it takes you to declare it. In less than the span of a breath, the god absorbs your soul into his Audra body, where it mingles with the thousands already there. It is a strange afterlife, a place of sleepy peace for some, and unrelenting tedium for others. For you, it is a place of stasis.
Okay. I didn't actually think he was going to kill me.
You surface from the morass, time and again, only to remember the task you left behind, and how powerless you are now to complete it. You dimly perceive a world in chaos, souls hanging in the balance. You recall there was something you were supposed to do, but it feels as though you've been locked in a cage and dropped into the sea. You sink and forget, only to remember again.
I didn't think he was actually going to kill me. That's hilarious. I enjoy the being given these options. But yeah, now I'm gonna peace out. So thanks for watching. Catch you later.